Stop the presses! That's the devil. Today's video has been thrown uncautiously out of the window in favour of doing a request. I was asked to do a Reaper video, and what I was going to release today is gone. Well, it's not gone. It's delayed until next week. Instead, we're going to do this. So I thought we might as well combine it with a bit of a Let's Do for newer players who've joined the channel recently. So Reaper is a limited arc forward firing primarily DPS ship, medium ship from the TDS line. What that means in a nutshell is make sure the thing you want to kill is in front of you, basically. So to that end, let's take a quick look at the crew. I've got like a number of different crews that I use with a Reaper, but we're going to be focusing mainly on today the crew that revolves around maneuvering for positioning and avoiding being shot, obviously, and taking full advantage of the shroud. We'll primarily be using it to bait engages and for safe disengages, so we're running utility duration and utility cooldown. Now if you take this maneuvering utility cooldown crew and compare it, for example, to my tanky equivalent, you can see that we've swapped out some of the maneuvering in favour of more armour and damage resistance and those sorts of characteristics, but we're still bringing that utility cooldown to the table because that shroud is a big part of how the Reaper plays. Let's take a quick look at the loadout. I personally prefer the standard shroud, the side shroud. A lot of ships tend to engage you more on an equal plane rather than, oh, let's keep up heavily above or below. The ships that tend to benefit from engaging you from above or below tend to have more jankier engages, is probably the better way of phrasing it. Plus you can always find terrain or something to hide under, and it only works for that if you're taking it for the ghost, the ghost jump. It only works on ghosts that don't pay attention to your loadout and ghosts that aren't adaptable, because after that first engage and you pop a shroud and it's above you, after that they're just going to they're going to learn and they're going to change their approach vector. It's as simple as that. That awkward moment when you get to pick in the first phase, so you definitely get your ship, but at the same time it's quite easy to get counterpicked. I'm a fan of picking healers first, or tanks, because they're a lot how do I counterpicking a healer or a tank. If you counterpick a healer, it means that your team can then counterpick whatever's used to counterpick your healer, and you don't really counterpick a tank unless you pick something like a destroyer or a gladiator, really realistically. So it doesn't have that much impact on the late game or like picking phase, whereas like second and third step picks for more specialist ships, which you want less time for them to be able to counter. We shouldn't have two ranged. What? Everything's ranged. It's a space battle game. What is he talking about? I think he means the Reaper and the Furion, which well, yeah, no, they'll be fine. Yeah, that must be what he means. I'd prefer to have swapped out the Gladiator for something. Not a big fan of picking Gladiator until like the last pick slot, simply because you can't see if it's really going to be effective against the enemy team, because you want a couple of heavies at least, if not more, and the enemy team will slow ships. Like right now, yeah, it's not going to be much good against anything. Heavy rockets, stun a loadout, stun avoid charges. Yeah, at the moment that's just going to get battered, I'd say, more than likely. It'll do a good job on the Colossus. Flak, that's a problem. That's going to get around my shroud. We use normal shroud. Prefer normal shroud over the let's bring it up. The vertical shroud is like a one-trick pony for the most part. Most ships you engage you on that side profile or on the same sort of linear height usually, unless it's something that abuses firing arcs, in which case it doesn't matter. They'll get you from whatever angle. At the end of the day, it doesn't make too much difference. The Flamer is my preferred sorry, Omni Shroud, that was what I was saying. Not a fan of it. It doesn't last long enough, even with the utility increase, the implant increase for utility duration and everything. This doesn't last long enough for my liking. What's cats? Hey cats. This video is a request actually from a viewer. So yeah, that's why we're running this very, very nice green, very, very old Revenant Reaper skin. How sexy is that? Got this from the first free weekend I did. That's how long ago that's been. We're gonna go left, which is unconventional, I know, for me. This lane is so bright, but it's got a reasonable bit of cover if anybody tries to go above me. But watch out for that ghost. Ghost is going to be a problem. It's what we're saying about the vertical shroud. The vertical shroud will work really nice for one? No, didn't get it. For one ghost engage or one enforcer engage, but after that first initial engage, they'll adapt to it and then they'll just adjust their play style. And if anything, you want them to attack you from above or below, because those ships have... Oh, come on, come on, come on. Oh, that pick. Okay, I need to use this to get into cover. We'll cover what just happened in a second, but those ships need to use... you want them to engage on those angles, because they're really bad angles for them to engage at. Because the way the turrets line up, it can cause them to miss shots and things. Whereas if they line up next to you, it makes it easier for them to hit you. Can we get that side on that? No, we don't want to side that. Let's give it a sec. Come here, cats. Half of those just went into that rock, but it should still be enough to finish him off. Key with this is to make sure you stay in the sweet spot. You can't get overzealous. It's a ship where you get extremely punished if you get overzealous. You need to keep that in mind when engaging. He's going to have that cap. We're going to rotate. But I like to... Let's slide my face off rocks, obviously. No, I like to... Look at that. How sexy is that? Nice. Lovely. When engaging mid-mine, I like to sort of swing out on the side and get a profile shot behind it, rather than getting right up on top of it. I'll show you what I know. Just trying to decide which lane to go to. This one. A lot of people, when flying the Reaper, they get too close to the enemy and they forget that it's got limited firing arcs. It needs to see forward in order to fire. So if you come up on this station, let's say you're trucking up to this station, there's a ship on the other side of it, you park here. Well, now you're done for, because as you try and crane over the top, you're going to have a reduced coverage, like 50% coverage of shots. Whereas opposed to, if you approach... I am not driving into that. If you approach an objective from a slightly wider angle, like here, I get my full coverage on those ships. They're not quite inside the sweet spot, but they are still like in full turret coverage. Okay, you give me that side armor that's massive and broad. Oh, lovely. Work it for me, yeah, work it, work it, work it. Taste it. Flak is a problem because flak ignores my shroud, which is a pain in the doodads. We're gonna wait for him to jump. He's gonna have to try and get out. Boost maybe. I'd like to shoot that pioneer. He's not going for the jump. Okay. We'll save the scythe and the missiles for the Colossus in a second. So line up for the run. Line up for the run. No run. Is he not going to try and get out? There he goes. Okay, we're going to start leaving. Ghosts at the back there. I wanted to make sure I got into Gamma in time so that we got the buff. What's that? I don't want to go back into the lane with the ghost because it's a ghost. And that's one ship that's really going to abuse a Reaper and its limited firing arcs. This wants to disengage, I would say, if he's got any sense, but we're going to stop him from disengaging. Pop that. You'll notice I haven't really used my shroud yet. I'm quite a conserved shroud user, and I really only tend to, if I've got a healer with me on, I only tend to use it when I feel like I really have to. I like to try and save it. It's like a lot of abilities like that. I like to try and save it until I really need it. Plus, it can also deter ships from attacking. If you've got like a ghost or a burst-based ship on the enemy team, if they're any good, now this is. If they're not any good, then you don't need to worry. It doesn't make any difference. But if you've got a burst-based ship on the enemy team, and they're aware of how your ship works, because a lot of burst-based ships, a big part of the ship is knowing how the enemy ships work, and knowing how to get in on top of them and stuff and abuse them. With a burst-based ship, that's a bit of a mouthful to say. If you save your shroud, it can put them off engaging on you because you could mitigate all of their damage. I'm not going to get that. Let's try and position around this way. Or maybe not. What's the team doing? Looks like they're pushing in. Yeah, we'll go with it then. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Where is he? Behind me. I love Reaper missiles. The way they launch is just sexy. Okay, need to get the side on that. Ooh, just 3 more seconds and we'll hit him with a volume miss. Oh, he doesn't need him. What most folks don't realise as well is that the... Oh, he's going to get it. It's a shame. There's one at home. Really? None of us just... I did see, but I'm going to go home and close the gate. It's not worth it, I don't think, personally. Gamma 1 push is nice and all. Wait, but what I was saying, most people don't realise is the beam that comes out of the scythe. Each of those, it's not one constant beam. They're individual shots. Probably the best way of phrasing it. So multiple shots can hit a ship, which is why you'll do truckloads of damage to larger ships and strip out more armor and stuff. But it also does its damage based on range. So the closer it is to the maximum range, the more damage you'll do to a ship. If you practice it, it takes a bit of practice, and it's referred to as MLG scythe. If you pull in the opposite direction as you're scything, you can actually increase the volume of scythe hits that land on a target and do additional damage, which I keep meaning to do a video on with young Danny Boy, and I keep getting sidetracked or forgetting because it's a bit of a difficult one to do. But we'll do that at some point. Yeah, it's doing good. Could have pushed there maybe, but you'll notice whoever that was that pushed into our base took 25% of our base and only touched their nose in, whereas we took a whole team and took 7% of theirs. This is blasé, by the way. Only do this if your shroud's off cooldown. There's a ghost there, so we want to really use this station for cover. Nah! I really thought he'd left. Well, not left, but I really thought he wasn't going for me because he didn't engage. Really thought I was going to get away with that for a second. But I did it that way because basically when there's a ghost on top of you, especially if it's coming up to an objective, don't try and hold the objective. Just jump. If he's going to kill you, he's going to kill you. It doesn't make much difference at the end of the day. I don't have an escape like a Furion does. Jump and make sure you're back in time for the objective, basically. Which is why I let myself die there. Well, not let myself die, it's why I took the chance, I should say, and jumped earlier. Don't want to go back into that lane, really, because I don't want to get caught by that ghost. Did he get out with nothing? No, that was a shame. See, Furion should have just jumped out at the oh no, I messed up there. I should have stayed for 6. Okay, we're gonna go home and get 6. 7 even. Yeah, the Furion should have jumped out when I jumped out. And just taken the chance that, well, if we'd have both jumped together, one of us would have made it, basically. I don't want to go in there on my own. They did pick up the ghost in exchange for the Furion though, which is nice. I don't want to go in there on my own. It's not a ship. It's like a healer. It's not a ship that you want to be in Gamma first with, and you don't want to be on your own with. Remember, you got to keep your engagements range as well. I like to use the station as cover and then lean back a little bit. Boosting Colossus. Not entirely sure what the focus is. I'd like it to be the Pioneer. Okay, they're pushing through really hard, so we're just going to come down this way and sneak underneath. A little bit closer than I'd like to be, but it's been scythed. We can pull back up inside the station. There's Furion behind me. Okay, this is way too close, but there we go. Make sure we get outside of the station so that the missile volley can actually, all of it can land on target. Side them for the extra damage. Boom, down. Ooh, ooh, didn't see that. Pretty close. No, he's out. Ghost on my nose. Side him, so he should stay revealed for a little while as well. He can't blink and cloak. That's him dead though. How much did we lose? 2. Passable. Passable number. I agree with the team though. We should do a Gamma 2 push. See how much of the enemy base we can take. Yeah, I am going to stop for the upgrade. I'd consider just running down the lane if the whole of the team had made it out with that G2, but because they didn't, we probably could do with the extra level before pushing into the enemy team. A lot of direct firepower here as well, so as long as, key to this with the Furion here is as long as we both manage to, and actually with the Overseer, thinking about it, as long as we focus down on a target, we'll melt a target. And if we can cover that from multiple angles as well, even better. So again, just keeping in mind that engagement range. We want to get in the bubble, but as soon as we get in the bubble, we're going to be sort of not in the most ideal position for engaging. There we go. Things like ghosts. He's already displayed that he's not a pants ghost pilot, so I don't want to do any jumps until he's given away his position. Won't go for that, surely. It's me or the Paladin. Oh, he's giving it away. Not interested in the fight, all about capping the base. Oh, that's gonna sting. Really would like to move down into this cover, but let's go. It's nice work. It's a shame. Poor cats. Nice person here as well. Can we hit that and put it down? That is almost dead. This is what I was saying about flak. If we can just put that down, we're not making it out of here alive, I don't think. See if we can put this turret down on there. Thank you. Then we're going to go this way. And around here like so. Remembering to always use the station, and then we're going to leave and open an FOB because we're not holding this any. We'll pop Shroud just to be safe because I can't see where the ghost is. There we go. Don't actually want this that much. I just want to keep the pressure on. Oh, cats, that was nasty, man. Dead. Should have gone straight for the jump home. Okay, Gamma's in 140. Itself did not go in the middle of the enemy base. We've got a good... Well, they've leveled off. So experience is balanced. Gamma 3. This will probably make the fight. They can't do any silly shenanigans because of how close it is to Gamma now, and they've had to sort of shore up their own lines. So this is what we want. Why is he lit up like he's duetted with me? That's weird. Now he isn't. What? That is exceptionally odd. Can we get the pickers that are on the way in? That's the question. Damn it. It's a lot of damage on this poor Punisher. And it basically is just a souped up Pioneer, so it should melt pretty quick. There it goes. Sorry cats, mate. Unfortunately, our Furion is out in the open, but we should trade him for a Super Lifter, which is worth. I want to stay behind the Colossus in the hopes that maybe he doesn't notice me as much because I'm behind him. Not notorious for their alertness. And if I go look behind him as well, then we just as I said that. Something's above. Oh, it's alright, it's the Overseer shooting down, it's fine. Pointless throwing on the Shroud, because it's flak. Flak's a pain in the doodad. Where's that ghost shooting? I can't see him. Me. Woohoo! No, 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 no. Switching targets to the ghost. He's a bigger priority, bigger threat. And then we'll go back to the Colossus. The whole time keeping that sort of optimum engage range. Don't push in too deep. It's dead Colossus. We're going to jump through. Nice work from the team. Nice work indeed. And that should be an effective Reaper match right there. As I said, if you're new and you've got any questions, do hit me up in the comments section. By all means, if you need me to go into more depth with this sort of stuff, more than happy to. You just let me know. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to massage the like button, and I will catch you in the next one.